Hello and welcome to the first edition of Voices of Women in Mortgage. We are joined today by Sara Avery, our Chief Operations Risk Officer for Cenlar, and Cristy Ward, the Chief Strategy Officer of Mortgage Connect and the founder and visionary of Women Empowering Women. My name is Leslie Peeler. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Cenlar. And this is going to be a great discussion.
I've got two
discussion. Great discussion. You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to stay to the very end. It's going to be epic.
Epic, beyond epic.
Epic. So let me tell everyone a little bit about the first time I met Cristy, and then I'm going to hand it over to Cristy to talk a little bit about herself, even though that's really an awkward thing to do. I first was introduced to Cristy back in 2024. And as many of you know, I had left the industry for a period of about 10 years. I was at a little tiny company called IBM. And Cristy, in her capacity of founder and visionary of Women Empowering Women, had reached out to me and said, hey, we're looking at expanding this group. And just for reference, my husband calls Women Empowering Women the lady cult. Okay, you'll hear more about that throughout the conversation. Oh, absolutely, it is.
Girls Club.
It absolutely does. And so Cristy had reached out, said, "Hey, we're expanding this group that she and others had started." She described a little bit about it. I wasn't even in the mortgage industry at that point, but it sounded like kind of a cool thing, and I said, "Sure, I'll check this out." And we've developed a really, really great relationship since then. I like to call Cristy the best friend of my best friend. Maybe you'll hear a little bit more about that as we get in to the conversation. And Cristy, why don't you take a little bit of time here and tell people about yourself?
So I am a Chief Strategy Officer at Mortgage Connect, and I love what I do there. I've spent the last 30 years of my career working directly with a lot of the executive teams of the largest mortgage banks and banks in the country. And the great thing about what I do is I get to do really cool things every day. I get to help develop process, product, technology, and really solve problems for our industry in conjunction with our clients. So I've had a great career. I love what I do, and I love the people in this industry, more importantly. So I'm excited to be here today.
That's awesome. And Cristy, you used the word had like past tense. You have a great career and you are doing incredible things for the benefit of the industry and for homeowners. So again, very, very much, still building the legacy, which I think is awesome. We're going to start with kind of a heavy question, a really serious question today. And that is, Cristy, looking back, is there a pivotal moment or decision in your career that significantly shaped your leadership journey? And what did that teach you about yourself?
Well, there definitely was, and this is going back well over a decade, but there definitely was a very pivotal moment in my career where I had to make a very tough decision where doing the right thing carried very real and very significant implications. And my head told me this is going to be career ending. And trust me, it wasn't whistleblowing or anything crazy like that, but it had very far-reaching implication. But my gut was telling me there's only one answer here, and it's doing the right thing and going honestly and transparently forward. So I went with my gut and moved forward, and it was very uncomfortable on a lot of fronts. And what I didn't realize back then, which is really, really a great thing, is that a large part of the industry was watching me very closely to see what I was going to do with this situation. And instead of it being career ending, it was actually career catapulting. And I think that's really why, I think people looked at me in that moment and said, that was a tremendously hard decision that very few people would have actually made. But I think it kind of set it set the foundation of myself as being somebody that operates with integrity regardless of what the outcome means. And it has built a lifetime of trust with the people in the industry that knew me and know me now. And it's built a lifetime of trust with my clients. And here's what it really taught me about myself, that courageous leadership isn't about avoiding the hard moments, because trust me, I could have avoided that and just done what everybody else probably would have done. But it's really about having the integrity to walk through those moments. And I believe that most importantly, your reputation is built on the moments when doing the right thing could cost you a lot. And so for me, that was very pivotal, that it taught me trusting your gut is never wrong. It's never wrong. And so having that gave me a lot of confidence as I move forward in my career to say, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And this is what we're going to do. And whatever the outcome is what the outcome is.
I think that's great, Cristy. I'm sorry, Sarah. I was just going to comment. Someone said to me this weekend something, and it sounded really profound. And then I was just like, I don't think that's right. And the thing that they said to me was, Leslie, you need to lean into ease and grace more. And I said to myself,
ease and grace.
Well, I know. I was like, the things that we do are not easy, and sometimes they're not graceful either. Right.
Yes.
And so the hard things rarely are. So, I think, sometimes following your gut and following your intuition is a lot harder than the easy stuff.
Oh, yeah. A lot
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the theme about integrity, and Cristy, that sounds like a tremendous challenge that you just took on, head on, and really worked through, and it certainly was pivotal and monumental in your life. As you look back on your career, what other challenges might you have faced as a woman in this industry, and what types of kind of strategies did you have to approach that, and what kind of support systems did you use throughout those instances?
Well, I think and for a lot of my career, I was really the only female at the boardroom table. It just was what it was when I was coming up through the industry. And I think, like many other women in their careers, the challenge wasn't capability, because I had learned this industry. I took it upon myself to learn this industry inside out so I could be the sharpest person at the boardroom table. So from loan origination to underwriting to processing to secondary market, I had worked in all of those different sectors. But the challenge for me wasn't capability, because I knew this industry very well, but it was making sure that my voice at the table carried the same weight as the men in the room. And what helped me navigate that was preparation, strong relationships, and then most importantly was delivering consistent results, regardless of the market, regardless of what was going on at the company, just being consistency. I think the competence earned trust, but the consistency built the trust of leaders around me and peers around me. So I think it just takes, it takes all of those things lining up together, I think, to help move through your career.
Do you have a strong support system now, Cristy?
I do. I am very, very fortunate. I have a very strong support system at home with my husband and my daughter, and I have a great support system. I have an executive team at Mortgage Connect that's second to none. We are truly in the trenches together, and that makes a difference. I really believe that trust is extremely important in executive teams. And when you have that trust, you'll run through walls together, because you're on the same team. You have the same objectives. And so I have one of the smartest, sharpest CEOs in the industry by my side. I'm so fortunate to work for him. And I don't know, I just feel very fortunate. It's not always been like that in my career. So I finally feel like I found a great place to be.
That's awesome. So, Cristy, we're going to pivot a little bit and talk about how your leadership style has evolved over time. And also I'd like you to touch on, because I see you do this regularly, but can you share with people how you intentionally create room and opportunities for other people, especially women?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think early in my career, I had focused on a lot of individual results, right? And to build your career, you have to do that to a degree. But I think over time, you evolve as a leader into building other leaders around you. And I think in order to do that successfully, you have to build the very intentionally the right environment, right? Where, you allow people to take risk, you give them autonomy to make mistakes, and you support them and advocate for them in the boardroom. And I think building that environment is very, very important. And then building that for women, even more important, making sure that they have sponsors around them, that you're intentional about where you put people in roles where they'll have the right level of support. So I think all of that is really important as all of us look at how do we move women forward in our industry.
And Cristy, you certainly emulate. You're a role model for women in this industry in terms of how well you do open up the room and provide connections for between people. And it's been amazing to be. I'm grateful to have had the chance that our careers have crossed paths. As you look at the industry now, and what advice would you give to young women in the mortgage industry as they're aspiring to leadership roles and moving up in their careers? And what are your thoughts on the future of women in this industry compared to where you started and where we may be going?
Well, my advice to women that are building their career in this industry is learn all you can. Be curious, learn all you can. And it's a lot, right? You have a full-time job, you have responsibilities there. Being curious helps, but understanding all the different aspects of the industry is very, very important. And, here's what else I would say: guard your reputation carefully. This is a very, very small industry. Even though it's a huge industry, it's a small industry. But here's what I've learned: trust travels quickly in this industry. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. And I think really what excites me most about the community right now in mortgage banking is, it's not just women doing the jobs anymore. It's women helping to shape the industry. And we're seeing more and more of that. And I'm really encouraged and I'm excited by that. We should be shaping the industry. And so I'm excited by what I see and the changes that I've seen and how our industry has evolved, because it has evolved.
Awesome. So, Cristy, I fully expect you to weave into your answer here the vision and mission of women empowering women. So, a little hint for what is to come. What role did mentors or sponsors play in your career, and how have you paid that forward for others as you've grown into leadership?
Well, I had, when I first started in my 20s, I mean, frankly, I was an idiot. And thank God
In your 20s?
In my 20s. Yeah. Early 20s. I started in this
Who
industry.
wasn't? Yeah.
And I had some great women that I had a local mortgage bankers affiliation then, and I had some women there that kind of took me under their wing, thank God. And they would say things to me like, don't wear your skirts so short, and maybe you don't want to pay. Like, they gave me some great advice. I'm like, oh, I wonder why other women don't like me in the industry. Well, maybe if you toned this, back a little bit, but I don't know. I just became who I was after all. But they did take me under their wing, and it meant a lot to me. And I learned a lot with those women that they had nothing to gain by doing that. And so as I've come up through the industry, what I did notice was a really big hole at the top. Like, I saw all the guys at the big mortgage banks, they all know each other, they all help each other, they all talk. I wasn't seeing that same collaboration at the very top with women. And I felt like they all felt like they were kind of alone in this. I knew a lot of those women. I worked with, a lot of those women due to what I do on a day-to-day basis. And so I really felt that there was an opportunity to bring executive women together for that peer-to-peer collaboration. And that's why I started WEW. And, and it's not just about executive women and peer-to-peer collaboration. It's about how can we influence and impact the next generation of women coming up behind us. And I think, earlier decades before, you saw women get to the top and kick the ladder out from behind them. Now I'm seeing women going up that ladder and pulling other women up. It's really an incredible change that's happened in our industry that I've seen. And I believe that as we continue to evolve, it becomes important that not only in WEW, but in all these great organizations, there aren't enough. I mean, there should be more where we are creating communities of support, of certainty for women in our industry. But I do believe, it's exciting to see what's happening. I'm glad we have WEW, but my hope is that our women bring that certainty that they have in WEW to their individual organizations, and that creates just a wave of opportunity for women in our industry to be supported and to have that certainty.
And Cristy,
Sara, I want to actually flip this to you. I mean, you joined WEW last year. I mean, is there anything you'd share with the group about what it's meant to you in your career?
It's been phenomenal. And I speak openly that Leslie's probably one of the most phenomenal female leaders I've worked for, and Cristy and the WEW community has been great. I will admit I was a little skeptical going in because you don't really know what to expect, but the genuine nature of people are very transparent. It's a place where you can be vulnerable and also grow and learn, and it's been phenomenal. And I honestly, in the past year and a half, I think my network of female leaders in this industry has multiplied, and I've just been so grateful for that community and being able to share with other people. You have a lot more in common when you start to talk and feel comfortable, speaking freely. And it's just a great network, and it's a great connect. I mean, when you look at people and who they represent across the industry, it's phenomenal for our businesses too. We get stronger when we work together.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing that's interesting too about WEW is I think a lot of women don't feel safe in their own four walls, right? Like you can't go talk about all things to people in your four walls. And I think WEW has given those executives and the up and coming women that are involved in that the opportunity to bounce things off women outside of their organization where there's a high level of trust. And again, we're just helping one another become stronger as we do things like that.
No, absolutely. And it really does make our business. I know someone's reached out to me, and I've reached out to someone for a work-related question, to get a perspective on something you're working through. And so it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, during COVID, it was really great. We had all the big lenders on the phone, and all the women were saying, this is working, this is not working, this is failing, don't do this, we've tried this and it didn't work. And it was great to see that collaboration so openly amongst, competitors in the industry, but they were truly helping each other, get their businesses off where they needed to be in that very tumultuous time. So it was a great experience that I got to witness.
Cool.
So, Cristy, I think when you talked about WEW, I think that's a big part of kind of defining your legacy. So I'm going to throw in a little bit of an audible for a question, and a fairly stereotypical question that comes up, but I'm always curious to hear people's answer, which is, how do you manage work and life balance? And what are some of the strategies you've employed to kind of manage that throughout your career?
So earlier in my career, I used to try to set boundaries, and I think it's just false, right? And when you get to certain levels, you're 24/7. You can't have like, oh, I won't on vacation, I'm on vacation, and when I'm off, I'm off. To me, I think work-life balance is a dated term. I really believe that if you're going to be successful, it's really about work-life integration. because you've got to learn how to better integrate things at times that may be not normal, and really just moving your life together between work and personal and integrating them rather than trying to have this defined balance. It doesn't work. It's too hard. And so, especially at certain levels. And so I think integrating has been kind of where I've lived at, and it's really helped me be more productive, actually. As an example, I had a vacation, and in the past, I'd done this when I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. I changed that about 10 years ago. And what happened is I was on vacation. I had a big deal happening, and I said, you know what? I can't take time away from my family, but I can do some things in the middle of the night and very early in the morning. And it wound up putting a deal together that was really incredible for the company, and some really great things came out of it. But if I would have had those boundaries up, guys, that might have never happened. So I look back, that was a big experience for me, because I just thought, you know what? I won't take time away from them. Instead, I'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do these things that need to get done to make this other deal happen. And I found that, just, again, integrating those things in became important, and it taught me a lesson. It taught me a great lesson.
Yeah, I'm going to go off script. I actually want to go back to the legacy question just for a second, because I agree, WW is a part of your legacy, but I think too about some of the things that you've pulled across the finish line recently around title innovation in the industry, and how that saves, you know, thousands of dollars on every mortgage that gets originated under that innovation. And you played a long game in bringing that to life. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about kind of that strategy when that kernel was birthed, and how you dragged it for years to make it
Literally.
happen? Literally
Literally
years.
years. I love this question. Because it was a long game, guys. And thank God I've got a CEO that believed in me and trusted me to be in the hallways of the GSEs for 3 years trying to help put this program together. And certainly I don't take full credit for it by any stretch of the imagination. There were a lot of great people working on this together, but we were challenged. We were challenged by our own industry. We were challenged even within our own company. We were challenged. There were a lot of challenges that we had to overcome, and a lot of mindsets, frankly, that we had to change, because when you're innovating, it is never easy. But it was exciting, and this was very personal to me, because I really believed. I love the title insurance industry. It's given me an incredible career, but I think we can do better. And I really believed in my heart of hearts that somebody in Texas shouldn't be paying $3,000 for title insurance for the exact same loan amount that someone in Tennessee would pay $1,000 for. I just felt that there were just discrepancies that didn't make sense. And the consumers in the end were the ones that were being impacted. And so I worked very closely, particularly with Fannie Mae and Jake Williamson, and just a great group of people, to really help put together models and innovate our industry and really change it. And the horses are out of the barn and it is off. But it was a long game. And there were times when I thought, have I wasted 3 years of my life for nothing? Because at points we weren't sure this was going to get done, or that we could get it done. But again, perseverance and tenacity win the day, because I was convinced. I'm like, we just got to keep driving. We got to keep driving. And my CEO Jeff felt very much the same way, and we just kept pushing and driving and educating clients, educating a lot of people along the way, to make sure that we were putting in something. Because it wasn't just about innovation. It was safe innovation, putting in something that made sense, that would be beneficial to the consumer. And but it's not easy to be on the leading edge of that change, but I wouldn't change a thing about what we did. And it's making a huge impact in the industry right now. And I think it's going to continue.
Well, and I think one of the things that's so fascinating, a lot of title companies did not like what you were doing, right? It was
No.
something that was, like perceived as taking away from their revenue, from their slice of the pie. And so to see you leading in that way, and just really believing in making things better for homeowners, even if it could potentially hurt your wallet, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was just, I think people 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now are going to look at that as being part of Cristy Ward's legacy.
We weren't there just for being their sake. We were there to truly change an industry that probably needed to evolve and needed to innovate. And so, and I believe that legacy isn't really, this sounds odd, but I believe that legacy isn't really what you achieve. It's what you help others become and do. So if I leave that legacy, I'll be very proud of that.
I think that's awesome. So we know that your face belongs on the Mount Rushmore of mortgage, women in mortgage. So we know that Cristy Ward's face is there. Okay. Who are the other 4 women who are on Mount Rushmore with you?
You know, how many people are on Mount Rushmore?
I don't know. I think it's only 4, but on
I need to go back. I'm
on
like,
our Mount Rushmore, we have 5, Cristy. We have at least 5.
I need to go back to school or something. I'm not sure, but here's what I would say. And they're all for, it's a really tough question, but here's what I would say. So I would say Donna Corley is one of them. Look, she led single family of Freddie Mac. She had secondary market background. She really had she had a very diverse background. And the thing I loved about Donna, and I still love about Donna, is she showed that you can lead with kindness and still be a boss. And I think that her legacy is fantastic. She's continuing to do great things in the industry. So I think she belongs there. And Leslie, I'm sorry, I know you're going to hate this, but you belong on Mount Rushmore as well. I think you're freaking wicked smart. You're very savvy. You're not afraid to ask the very tough questions, which is what I love about you. And you lead culture unlike any other leader I've seen, period, end. And so you've got to be there. And then I would say Abby Tidmore, methodical, smart, strategic, very impressive. To watch her in action is so much fun. Just a really super sharp person. And then one of my personal favorites would be Laurie Goodman. Like, she is the original female trailblazer in our industry. And frankly, few smarter than her in this industry. And when it comes to breaking down this industry at a molecular level, she's incredible. She's incredible. I'm still in awe of her. Every time I'm around her, I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman is so smart. It's sometimes embarrassing to be in the same room. I mean, she is just so freaking smart. But yeah, that would be my Mount Rushmore. Did I do 4?
You did?
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
And I just want to point out that out of the 4 that you did,
know what you're going to say.
3 of them have either a current or future association with PennyMac.
Hey, what can you say?
Hey.
Look, here's what their slogan is so appropriate. Greatness lives here. Absolutely, it does.
Love it.
It really does.
Yeah. And for those of you watching, that was not a staged or planned response. I had
really wasn't.
no idea who she was going to say. So that's awesome.
No,
and great,
I know.
great
No,
choices.
It is odd. I know we have other clients, though, and trust me, there are just great women all over this industry, but those would be my personal 4.
Love it. And I'll just add one, only because if we don't have her on Mount Rushmore, she's gonna hit up our texts. And you know who I'm thinking about?
It's our best friend.
Our mutual best friend, Kim Hoffman.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, so we need 6 women on Mount Rushmore. There you go.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And you know, the thing I love about Kim, man, she is tough in business. She knows this business better than most, and better than many, many people, but just super sharp, tenacious, gets the job done, very focused. And the thing I really love about Kim is she is always curious. That woman will be learning until the day she goes to the grave. She is so smart. I mean, the things that she does in her spare time are mind-boggling, truly. I mean, the things that she learns, the way she's dove into AI. I mean, she's just incredibly impressive. Impressive.
Well, I think it's so interesting. You describe her as tough, right? There's also just such a soft side to her as well.
Oh yeah.
And you just one of the best, humans on the planet. So
By far, by
Yeah.
far, by far. Yeah.
All right.
All right, ladies. So I think we've
It's
got to
time.
start wrapping up. Yeah. So, but Cristy, we're going to end on something fun. So a little bit of quick, fun, fast round questions. So we'll get started. We probably have time for two, but we're going to keep you on your toes. So first one is, which mortgage term deserves a rebrand the most? Escrow, underwriting, or forbearance?
Oh my gosh, definitely forbearance. It's so dark. Sounds like we're going to the Undertaker or something. Let's get rid of that term. I mean, and two, let's make consumers feel better about having life happen to them. Forbearance, it sounds terrible. Change it. Get rid of it.
We'll start a contest for a renaming of that one as we move forward. Okay, and last one. If your mortgage career had a theme song, what would be playing when you walk on stage?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. I think probably Rise Up. It's a song about resilience, strength, and perseverance. And it's also about being challenged and dealing with adversity. So I love to be challenged. I actually oddly do better when adversity is present. I seem to like get to this whole different level. So for some odd reason, I don't like a smooth road. Give me adversity and I'll thrive. So I think that'd be a perfect theme song for me.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today. And it's been great to get to know you better. And I'm sure everyone will be really excited to hear all of the information you are kind enough to share with us.
Well, and to have LFP interview and you, Sarah, I mean, what else could we ask for? So, all right. Well, thanks so much. I really enjoyed this. And congrats to Cenlar for having this Voices of Women in Mortgage. Keep paying it forward. Keep doing a great job that you guys are doing. It's very appreciated by all of us in this industry.
Thanks so much,
Cristy.
Thanks, Cristy.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.